Yeah, a beautiful Wednesday afternoon to you, and you're welcome to Indepth. My name is Lillian Okonkwo. This year marks the 25th anniversary of the United Nations General Assembly's adoption of the Declaration and Program of Action on a Culture of Peace. In this landmark declaration, the UN's most representative body affirmed that peace is not merely the absence of conflict, but requires a positive, dynamic, and participatory process where dialogue is encouraged and conflicts are resolved in a spirit of mutual understanding and cooperation. Amid rising geopolitical tensions and prolonged conflicts around the world, there is no better moment to reflect on the values the General Assembly set forth in 1999 to promote a culture of peace. On today's In-Depth, our topic is cultivating the culture of peace. And of course, you will recall that last month, precisely 21st September, the world commemorated, World Peace Day. And of course, there can never be an ending to ensuring or sustaining peace in our environment. It is on that note that today we shall be cultivating or discussing cultivating a culture of peace. I already have my guest in the studio. Of course, I'll take a break now. When I come back, I introduce my guest. Stay tuned, don't go away. Hello, you're welcome to In-Depth, where we bring you great details, insightful analysis of events in today's world. My name is Lillian Okonkwo. Hello, you're welcome to In-Depth, where we bring you great details, insightful analysis of events in today's world. My name is Lillian Okonkwo. Yeah, welcome back. In case you're just joining us, this is In-Depth, and on In-Depth it's my pleasure to introduce to you my guest in the studio. He is a humanitarian, he is an activist in the positive light. He is FYNEFACE, DUMNAMENE FYNEFACE, Executive Director, Youth and Environmental Advocacy Center. It is said, I think the short form is YEC Nigeria. And if you ask me, I think he's a renowned name in this part of the world. So I'm glad I have him in the studio. You're welcome, Oga YEC. Can we now, is it this way or this way? For me, a woman, I prefer this way. We women would like hair, so I prefer this other way. It's men that like the chopping of the knuckle. Well, it's my pleasure to have you in the studio. I know that you've done a whole lot in this area we're going to talk about, and that is why it's my pleasure to really have you in the studio. We should be talking about peace, sustaining peace, cultivating peace, ensuring peace, and making peace. Let us start with the word peace. When we talk about peace, what comes to your mind as a person?
Thank you for having me. Nice to be here again after a while. And when we talk about peace, we are talking about a state where we have absence of crisis, absence of war, absence of quarrel, absence of provocation or provocating the next person, absence of anything that brings about a kind of anger in the next person. So even within yourself as an individual, you experience peace at that time that you check your mind and it is free of anything that bothers you. And as individuals, we always look at peace, especially when we are back home by night, when you are done for the day.
Yeah, you want to
go to bed.
You want to have a peaceful rest, a peaceful night sleep.
Exactly. You will know if you are at peace or not. That is the time for you to know, and you check yourself. So peace is the ultimate.
Okay. So now let us take a look at the importance of peace.
Peace is very important.
Even if you said it's the ultimate, how important is
peace?
Is
very, very important. In fact, there is nothing compared to peace. If you are not at peace with someone, it affects you. If a community is not at peace, it affects the community and everybody in the community. Likewise, the society. In the absence of peace, there is always crisis that affects everything. Affects development, affects the food you eat, affects the water you drink, affects the way you walk, affects everything around you. The moment there is an absence of peace, the environment will be hostile. It will be difficult for you to really be able to go about your lawful businesses. So peace is just very important and very impactful, and its absence affects a lot of things. And sometimes you might think that if peace is threatened in one part of the society, one community, or one place, that it doesn't affect you wherever you are. It affects everybody. In fact, if there is a threat to peace in Port Harcourt, it affects other states in Nigeria, affects even the international community. So peace is very important, because in political science there is one theory we call the system theory, where we talk about interrelatedness and interdependence. Everything you see interrelates and interdepends on each other. So if one part is affected, threat to peace in one part is threat to peace in every part. That is why in the international system you have what we call international relations, and you see some countries coming to try to cooperate with the other countries so that they can live in peace there, because any peace that affects this part will also affect the other part. So peace is very important, and we should try to be at peace with one another and each other.
Okay. So if it is this important, if peace is this important, if there is need for us to have peace, then how do we ensure this peace?
How to ensure this peace is in many ways. First, you be in peace with your own self. And then when you want to
find peace within
you first, then you cannot export or extend peace to the next person. And then to ensure this peace too, you also have to ensure and watch your actions as an individual. That thing that if you do it to the next person, the person will not be happy, don't do it. Or if they do it to you, you will not be happy, don't do it. So before you can think about going forward,
in other words, do unto others as you would
like to have them do to you. That is the way to ensure peace. Because the moment you do to others, what if they do to you, you won't like? You have threatened peace. Quarrel will start. You see two neighbors quarreling, even husband and wife quarreling, brothers and sisters quarreling, because you've done something you ought not to do. So for us to achieve peace and ensure peace in society and around us, you must first of all think of that action you want to take, that thing you have in your mind you want to do. Is it a peaceful thing? Is it fair to all? Like Rotary, we also put it. Is it fair to all?
Will it bring better goodwill and justice?
Look at all of these things before you take that action. In a way, I keep telling people that people that will offend you, do you something very bad and come back to say, I'm sorry. In my dictionary, I take sorry like 70%. I don't take it 100%. Because you will know right in you that this thing you want to do to the next person will threaten the peace you have with that person, but you go ahead to do it. After achieving your own purpose for which you make that problem, you now come back to say sorry. It doesn't really work like that. And sometimes when you threaten peace by not ensuring peace where you live, the person may even forgive you. People the offender may even forgive you, but the society will not forgive you. Even if you have been forgiven, after you threaten the peace of someone or threaten the peace of your community or your local government or your ward or your state, anytime someone sees you, whether on TV like we are on, or you are walking in the church,
is that man?
Anywhere, they will say, is that man that did that in that day? So the society will not forgive you. And in as much as the society does not forgive you, the nature will not also forgive you. One way or the other, someday, nature will remind you of something you did by bringing what we call the karma. It will come back to you. So you cannot escape not bringing peace to your society and environment.
Okay. There's an area that is a bit technical that I want us to look at. You know, sometimes they say, some will say, yes, we need peace, but not that of a graveyard.
Yeah, you know,
I'm sure you've had things like that.
Yes.
Where it has to do with a situation where there's an issue, and then people are asked to let it be, but the issue has not been taken care of.
That brought to justice.
Yes.
Justice has not been done.
Yes, justice has not been done, and it is said, let's go, let's let go, let's let go.
It doesn't go
But
like that.
the problem still remains.
You must
So
address.
sometimes you hear, yes, we want peace, but not that of the graveyard where people are just shut up. But there's an injustice.
Exactly.
But people are just, you know, people are just shut up. So I don't know.
You know, exactly. We want peace, but not that of a graveyard. And first, in the quest for peace, you ensure that justice prevails.
Okay.
That is the key thing. In my language, Ogoni, where I come from, we do say that you do not put drugs or medicine on a live wound. You must use the warm water to press the wound first, clean the face, before you can apply medicine for it to work. So if there has been threat to peace, you don't just talk to everybody, okay, forget. No, I'll give opportunity for everybody to express themselves. Let them say what the issues were. You look into the matter, you now reconcile the parties that are involved for us to achieve peace. If you fail to do so, no matter how you cover it, it will still come up in the future, because the cause and the main roots, immediate and remove cause of it, have not been addressed. So that has to be done. Then again, not making it to be like a graveyard. Yes, it's just like stress. Stress, there is no time we can be stress-free. There is always an element of stress.
Yeah.
So there is always no time that we can have total peace in any system. There must always be an element of threat to peace. Because there are people that depend on that little threat to peace to feed, like the police, like the army, like the navy, all of those security operatives. They are there because of little threats that can come to peace, so that they can address it. That is why even the courts, that is why they exist. Our chiefs, our youth leaders, our women leaders that intervene into matters of threats to peace, they exist because there will be elements of threat to peace. But when it goes beyond how it should be, it becomes a problem. But there is always that need for that little element of peace. That is what makes us to go, takes us through from time to time as a people. Remember that sometimes too, if there is no little threat to peace, there won't be development. Because when there has been threat to peace, you begin to think, okay, how do we begin to generate ideas on how to address the problem?
I've had that analogy a whole lot of time.
Yeah.
You know that
little threat will bring about development, because it will make you to think out of your box. How do we find solution to this problem? And these are reasons why you have a lot of theories of peace, theories of conflict resolution, theories of reconciliation, all of these things that you can use to address peace. It's just like sometimes it rains, you'll be complaining it's raining. There are those who are benefiting from the rain. It is shining, there are those who are benefiting from the sun. So a lot of those things happen to make us a whole human being. But when the threat to peace is beyond the level that it should be, then it becomes a problem.
Okay, there's an area I want us to look at now, the threat to peace. In recent time, we've had a whole lot of issues arising from, you know, Boko Haram. In fact, as far as Nigeria is concerned, we have a whole lot, you know, talking about threats to peace. We have the Boko Haram there. We have the IPOB in the east. We have also the one we have in the west, and of course here in our Niger Delta we've had. And you find out that most of these things revolve around the youths, who are the younger people, or who are the strong people, you know. And so most times when we talk about peace, it seems to like center on educating the youths, engaging the youths. I don't know how you react to this.
Thank you. We are the Youth and Environmental Advocacy, which is the NGO that I am the executive director. We exist to address some of these issues. In fact, briefly saying, I will say that I got trained by America, United States of America, to go and learn how communities in America are resolving their issues, addressing issues within their oil areas, and then working with other stakeholders like the media, the CSO, civil society organizations, the legislatures, and all stakeholders in society to address issues through conflict resolution. Then come back to the Niger Delta, set up the NGO, use it with this experience to address some of this. So that is what we have been doing since 2017 till the day that we started this platform. And in doing that, we train youth every year as a big program we have. We call it youth training on human rights, conflict resolution, and peace building mechanism in the Niger Delta. So we've been going about training these community youth leaders, people from communities, to go back to their community and ensure there is peace. Working with stakeholders like the chiefs, like the women leaders, like the youth leaders, and then even the clergymen in the society and in communities, they have a role to play to bring about peace. So we've also been advocating, just like what we are doing here now, talking to people, the need for them to embrace peace. So we've been carrying out this advocacy in partnership with the media, stakeholders like community leaders, and all other stakeholders in the society to see how we can push about peace. So all of this exists, and we'll continue to talk. And I must tell you that the advantage of what we are saying, you may think they are not getting it or the message is not going out, but the fact that we are still living in relative peace despite the challenges that stare us in the face will tell you that our advocacy is working. For example, we've had a very serious economic decline in Nigeria today, whereby the prices of things have skyrocketed over 4 times the original prices. It is enough to cause revolution. It is enough to push you to the street beyond what we had on August 1 or what we plan to have on October 1 that didn't work also. But because of certain messages we've been sending out, is touching them as well, because even when you go out to threaten peace beyond what we have, what are you going to benefit from it? It has not really been beneficial. So the issue of dialogue, coming to the table to discuss, to solve this problem, is very fundamental. That is why sometimes when we come to studio like this, we try to talk to people, is also helping to pass the message. And again, bringing the youth into the picture and what we do. Mr. President is now saying, okay, we are going to organize a national conference where youth will sit down and begin to discuss. Why that is a good idea. What may cause the problem eventually is the process of selecting the delegate to the conference may cause the problem. But the youth are the center of all of this. Why? Because the youth have more stamina, they have more strength, they have this exuberance, they are able to do a lot of things that the elderly ones or the children cannot do. So that is why everything is centered around them. But then I keep telling the youth not to allow themselves to be used by the elders to cause problem. Because the elder will sit down there, they have more resources, they have more elements that threaten peace, like small arms and light weapon. They give it to you to go and threaten peace. You do that, you go home. Don't forget that after doing that, the society will not forgive you. We may forgive, the society may not forgive you. So youth should stay away from anything that threatens peace. Now we talk about Boko Haram in the north. Then we talk about northwest, we have northeast, we have Boko Haram, northwest, we have banditry. In the southeast, we have the IPOB issue. Niger Delta, you have militancy. Every corner, you have a lot of these issues. Herdsmen and all of those things. Everything over around the youth. We must advise ourselves and not allow these things to happen. But then, in the northeast, I was thinking something of recent. You remember we just had very serious flooding that covered Borno State and other parts of the thing. And I was telling the security operatives that are helping us to achieve peace in that area, the flooding, I hope we ate up all the Boko Haram members, or they followed it as it was drying up to make sure that they are nowhere again. So we need to look at all of this and then be able to achieve peace. But sometimes the youth keep telling you that a lot of them who are Christian will tell you that they look at the part of the Bible that says that since from the time of John the Baptist that heaven suffered violence and violence taken it by force. So when the youth agitate, try to threaten peace and then agitate, sometimes the government will listen. But it's unfortunate that our government don't listen to those who are very peaceful. They listen to those who are violent, those who shoot guns and throw bombs, and those they listen to. And it's very, very unfortunate because we don't reward peace. The only way we can have peace in our society also is by rewarding those who are peaceful. Because if you look at even the Niger Delta today, it is those who were raising guns as agitators and all of them, they are the people enjoying. While those who were very peaceful at the same time, they don't look at them. And that is because government places premium on spending money to achieve peace than using money to encourage peace encourage peace to spread in society. So we must try to do reinforcement of behavior. If you have a good life, there should be the reinforcement of behavior. I learned in those days when we are not born, or early days of our lives, that we had what they call character loan in banks. They look at your character in a bank. They look at how you've been able to operate your account. They look at you very well, and they can give you a character loan without bringing any collateral. Things like that should happen. The government at all levels should look into the society. Those who are doing their thing and they are doing it in a peaceful manner, then they reward it. That way, those who are being violent and involved in criminality and threatening peace, we look at that reward and begin to live a good life devoid of threats to peace, because they also want to get that recognition that someone that lives in peace has been recognized.
Yeah. So let us take a look at the things that make our youths prone to violence.
Yeah, many things push our youth into violence. The number one thing is economic decline. When there is hunger in the land, the economy has declined, there is hunger, they don't have job to do. And they also want to bring in, that will make me to bring in another theory in political science we call the reference group theory. The youths in society, sometimes they get involved in violence and criminality because they look at the people that have gotten involved in violence and are rewarded by the society through the government.
And so they think it's
the way to go. So some of those things are there. So hunger,
even if some end up as victims.
Exactly, because a lot of them cannot go through the process because the security operatives are watching, and they are also trying to make sure that they quell any of those things in society. So hunger is the key thing that drives this youth into criminality and violence. Like we have in the Niger Delta today, pipelines are being vandalized, crude oil is being stolen, they are refining and all of these things. It's hunger that is pushing them to do so. And that is why we've been advising the government. While you are using the stick approach, which is bombing and all of these things, also try to look at alternative livelihood opportunities for these youth so that they can be able to fend for themselves and then they don't threaten peace. I keep telling government, if they break pipeline and they are losing about 400 to 800 barrels of crude oil per day, why not just save money for just 200 barrels per day to use and empower this youth? It's very simple. We've talked about modular refinery for them.
Yeah, I was going to ask you.
Yeah, we've talked about legalizing artisanal refineries through the one we call the Presidential Artisanal Crude Oil Refining Development Initiative, PACODE, which is not a rocket science, because in the north, government have done it for illegal gold miners when they set up what they call the Presidential Artisanal Gold Mining Development Initiative, PAGMI, for youth who are into illegal gold mining. So why not to do it in the Niger Delta? It will solve the problem for us and bring this youth out of criminality, because why they break the pipeline, steal the oil, and government shout, oil companies shout, they make money to themselves. It's not benefiting everybody. Fire. It's not benefiting everybody, but it is affecting everybody because the environment is being damaged. If you see the level of damage we have had in our environment today through environmental pollution, I have said it, that in 50 years to come, we can't clean our environment. And the only way to begin,
really?
We can't finish it in 50 years.
You're taking me to the cleanup of
even they're going to clean up 50 years, they can't finish it. They can't clean Ogoni in 50 years. I have told
that's
people.
Scary.
Very, very scary. And I've given the analogy. I've been part of this process. Remember, the UNEP report said Ogoni will be clean between 25 to 30 years. Everything will be okay, restoring the environment. But
as at the time it was said.
Yes, August 4, 2011, when the report came out. But from that, and the $1 billion they set out for the project was meant for the first 5 years of the project to at least remove the black crude from the surface of the soil. 5 years has passed, so they have not been able to remove the black crude from the surface of the soil. Nothing has happened. And again, while the cleanup is going on, repollution is still happening. Yeah. People are still polluting, fire is still happening, and you cannot clean Ogoni without cleaning Andoni. You can't clean Okrika, you can't clean those surrounding communities. It's not possible.
Because you find out that the water
is revolving, everything is circulating. You can't do that. So 50 years to come, Ogoni won't be clean. You can see even in Bayelsa, we've talked about the Bayelsa Environmental Assessment Report, where they are talking about $12 billion to clean up Bayelsa. Who is going to bring the money? The IOCs are not speaking here. A lot of them have already started running away through the divestment process. So we still have a lot of problems in our hands. But if we are able to provide alternative livelihood opportunities for this youth, we'll begin to cut the pollution from the baseline. And then natural attenuation will begin to occur because the nature has a way of cleaning itself. While nature is cleaning itself by way of, for example, water coming from the Atlantic Ocean, collecting the oil, taking it back there, mixing it with the big water, over time you begin to see reduction in pollution. And then the human effort will now come in. Then we can achieve the, but unless we stop that flowing tap, it's going to be a big problem to us. Cleaning Ogoni or other parts of Nigeria.
Our youths are still engaged.
They are still engaged. And the reason is because of the question you asked about what pushed them into criminality. They are hungry. You know, when you are hungry, you go into a lot of these things. They even told me sometime when I talk with them that cultism that they got into is because of hunger. And I say, do they pay you for the cultism? They say yes. The moment they know that they are cultists, they have gone. Anybody they approve, we give them money.
They hire them. They hire them too.
Yeah, they have commodified cultism. It's now a commodity, especially during elections. The politicians will hire them because they have guns and other dangerous weapons, and it become a commodity. It's unfortunate that this happened because of hunger. Because let me tell you, as you are here, at least you are working, okay? Nothing will take you out of your work to go and involve in criminality because you are busy with your schedules and other things. That is how to solve the problem of criminality and violence in society, by keeping those youth busy with something. Remember, if you want to gather all the ants in an area, just put sugar somewhere and everybody will gather around it. That is how we need to do, by giving these boys something to do.
So this sugar you're talking about now is
alternative livelihood opportunities for the youths. Government cannot employ every youth. Let's not deceive ourselves.
Of course.
But we can create skills that they can use to develop themselves. Now we are talking about energy transition in Nigeria, to not depend on fossil fuel that much. So we should begin to go into training our youth on solar issues, thermal energy, or even wind energy. We should begin to create these opportunities for our youth, so that we begin to gradually transit. We have a lot of things to do to keep this youth busy. In 2017, when they came and talked about the modular refinery, the former vice president, they also talked about creating a Niger Delta park where they can develop the capacity of this youth. All of those things have not been done. We have the resources, and we can create the resources to keep this youth busy. If we fail to keep this youth busy as quick as we can, then very soon it will be difficult for people who are making this problem not to be solved, to even walk on the road. It's going to be a problem, because when they are all jobless, some of them go into family way and they need to feed their family, they'll begin to create a lot of issues. I can still say here today that since September 30, 2023, I've not passed through Transamadi. You know why? Because some youths who are jobless, having nothing to do. My friend, late Dr. Barine, went there and his car broke down there. He came out of his car just to pour water into the car. He was attacked because they wanted to collect his phone so that they can settle it. And he resisted them and they stabbed him. And he went to many hospitals. They refused to treat him for not having police report. And he died on September 30 last year. So since then, I feel difficult, even daytime or night. I don't pass through Transamadi again. So it's a big challenge, because if you are busy with things like now, I'm sitting down here, I don't have time to go and commit any crime. So we need to be able to engage our youth. Government must plan. It's been long ahead about national plan.
Yeah, see, let me, you know one thing, we keep talking about government. What about the IOCs?
Exactly. But there is something that we just finished, because yesterday we just finished a program we titled, this engagement with stakeholders on the 13% Apex on Host Community Development Trust. Those stakeholders. We were made to realize that these IOCs are there. In other climes, in other countries like Norway, Netherlands, and other places, US, where they operate this oil, when the IOC comes, which is the International Oil Companies,
yes,
when they come in, they engage with the government and they pay royalty to the government. It is the responsibility of government to provide amenities and engage with communities, to give the IOCs the level playing ground to carry out their activities for which they have taken license and paid you. But in the Niger Delta, despite the challenges that we have, after government collects money, government runs away, leaving the IOCs to face the community in a hostile environment, which they still try in a way, even if it's not sufficient, through the CSR, corporate and social responsibility, to address some of these issues. So the IOCs are trying, but they need to do more. I understand their predicament and their challenges. A lot of them that are divesting from the Niger Delta today is not because they are tired of oil or there is no oil anymore, but the problem that has come on them is beyond what they can maintain. The peace is threatened, so they can continue again. Especially the giant that is living, that started with us in the 1950s. They have to leave. They are living because the problem is beyond what they could manage.
And also leaving the problems
behind.
The
people that they are selling to are only buying assets. They are not looking at liabilities, but they have nowhere to run.
Well, we'll take a break. We'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll take a look at what the community leaders can do to ensure peace, especially still having our youths in mind, because we need to cut down on the way our youths get involved in political violence, as we can see today. So we'll take a break now. When we return, we'll take a look at what are our chiefs doing, what are our elders doing, to ensure that we have peace in our environment, and what are they doing to cultivate, because here we're talking about cultivating peace When we talk about cultivate, it's like planting it.
Exactly.
You understand me? Planting peace. So what are we doing in our various communities to ensure that we cultivate peace and also ensure that our youth are not prone to violence? I'll be right back.
Hello, you're welcome to Indepth, where we bring you great details, insightful analysis of events in today's world. My name is Lilian Okonkwo.
Yeah, welcome back. In case you're just joining us, this is Indepth and only on Rstv. With me in the studio has been FYNEFACE DUMNAMENE FYNEFACE. He is the executive director of YEG Nigeria. Of course, YEG Nigeria is Youth and Environmental Advocacy Center. And thus far, we've been talking about youth, how we can achieve youth, engaging. Basically, I think he's quite interested in, engaging the youths to avoid violence. And no wonder, I think this is Youth and Environmental Advocacy Center. So he's been advocating that our youths be well trained, be well catered for, so that they can be taken away from violence. Well, before we went on break, I said when we return, we'll take a look at what our elders, our various communities. You come from a community. In those days, they will tell you that the child belongs to the entire community. The king and chiefs are respected. They ensure peace. If a particular young person is known for, sometimes they ostracize you. They tell you you will leave the place. So in cultivating peace, I believe that it should start from our various homes. Like one person sang, I think Oyeko, when he said peace in our homes, peace in our family, peace in our lives. And you talked about peace within. Of course, you cannot give what you don't have. So if you don't have peace within you, then you can't give it. So let us take a look at, ensuring peace, cultivating peace from our community level. Because you find out that most of these things that happen, the youth we are talking about, the problems, they come from our communities.
Exactly. And even before we get to the community level, we look at the family. The family is the nucleus. That's the beginning of anything we can talk about peace in society. And at the family level, it behooves on parents to bring up their children. Even the Bible says you should bring up your child the way it should go. So when it grows up, it doesn't depart from it. It's very key. Because whoever is causing crisis or threatening peace in the community, state, local government, everywhere, they are from homes. So parents should try and be in charge of their proper upbringing of their children. It is very key. Because if you are brought up by a good family, it will be difficult for you to go out there and threaten peace, get into criminality and violence. And then at the community level, I believe strongly that every community has a chief. And these chiefs, to the best of my knowledge, they have been trying their best to see how they can control and manage peace, manage youth in the communities. But then you also have this aspect that do not only grow a child the way the child should go, in addition, which is another agent of socialization like peer group, but is also one of the key roots of where we begin to have threats to peace from. Because when you mingle as a child growing up, you mingle with your peer group, you interact with them and do things like that, some of them begin to learn very bad things. It is among those peer group they begin to learn how to smoke. It's among the peer group they begin to take Indian hemp and all of those. It's among that group they learn how to get involved in cultism.
And to obtain.
Begin to take things from people. It is that peer group angle that is causing that. Now, apart from that, another agent of socialization that also helps to enlighten you in a good way or enlighten you in a bad way is television. When you have the TV you are watching, what channel do you allow your children to watch? It's very key. The manufacturer of the TV have put in there what they call parental control. Things you can set inside the TV and they don't watch some of the movies or whatever that will teach them how to become violent or even see guns and things like that. But today, a lot of parents don't have time to even do some of those things to prevent them from learning some of those things. And then school, another agent of socialization. When they go to school, what do they do in school? We are even hearing today that cultism is not even in primary schools. Primary schools are, a lot of people are getting involved there. Initiation, a lot of things are happening there. The teachers, what are they doing to help mold these children for us? So we must collectively put hands together to address, because by the time it gets to the community level where the chief comes in, the situation is already getting out of hand. And when that happens, how are the chiefs even able to address some of these issues? Some of the chiefs in communities today cannot talk, because the youth they are about to talk to even have more weapons than they do. They have even more money, more resources than they do through their criminal activities. So the chiefs are even helpless. So the governments that have not really defined the roles of community chiefs in our constitution or in our laws, they should do it. Give them some form of power to manage crisis, manage threat to peace in their domain. And also at the end of every month, allocate some money to them to use and manage peace and security threats in their domain. Is very fundamental, because when we fail to do that and we leave everything to get to the police, then we are getting out of hand. In fact, there are countries of the world that we have that don't even have army. Standing army is not there. But in Nigeria, it's like we are now trying to look at another type of army that will top the army that we have, because this current army is getting overwhelmed by the way things are going. Because families have failed, communities have failed in a way with some youth, and now they are all exposed to the world. That is where you have them in Boko Haram, you have them in some of these groups that we have, militancy, and insurgency. All of these people put together and bandits are people that are now beyond control from families, beyond control from communities, and they are now wide.
Yeah, let us discuss the involvement of youths in political violence. Of course, you've seen what happened recently in Rivers State. How the youth, because no man in his 70s or 60s or 80s will go to bond, will be used to commit arson. I don't know. How did we get here?
It is unfortunate that we have had this from the
and
onset.
Most times our youths are used for political violence.
Exactly, because they are the ready weapon. Those who have missed their road from families, missed their road from communities, they are now wide into criminality, getting involved in cultism, and they are now having some small arms and light weapons that they can use to threaten peace. So they haven't commodified, cultism and getting involved. The politicians use them to go and cause some of these crises. Now, you see what has happened in Rivers State since last week to early this week. It's unfortunate, because the young people that are used to achieve this. And I learned one of them was even arrested at some point. Now, haven't been arrested with explosive like I heard. The person that sent you now will deny you. They don't know you. You are not on your own. But that little token they gave you, which you thought you were hungry, you are given, you cannot go and cause this man. You are now young, as they say, on your own. So this youth involvement in violence is very bad, and it's dragging us behind. Many councils are destroyed as a result of this. The post-election violence, I heard of that of Ishopo, which is a Kwere local government area, Eleme, and then Emoha. Then pockets of destruction at Obagemandoni local government area, and then other ones that we had. All of these things put together. Remember, the people for which you are angry, you've gone to destroy that, they have just got into office. They will now hide under the umbrella of going to fix those things, and they will eat your own money that belongs to me and you. So we are not helping ourselves.
Or the taxpayers' money.
Or taxpayers' money. You are not helping ourselves. So we are dragging ourselves back by getting involved in violence. And they shouldn't forget that any of this violence that is going out, the international communities are here with us through their embassies and foreign missions. They are telling their people all of these things.
Bad news.
They will tell them not to travel to River State. I remember sometimes in, I think, 2019, I was to have meeting with a professor from University of SOAS University of London, and she was to come to River State to meet with me to have a meeting, but they said River State is red, don't enter. Crisis because of some of this violence in River State, don't enter. And they flew me to Abuja to go and have meeting with the woman and come back. So because of some of these pockets of violence, it has local implication and international implication, because they will tell you violence is happening here, don't go. And when those people don't travel into your economy, it affects your economy, because each time they come in here, they change their dollar,
of course,
they spend, business move.
If the lady had come, she would be in a hotel,
bigger hotel than the one I will stay in.
Yes.
So a lot of those things.
She will pay for it,
Yeah.
she will need to eat, and maybe other things.
Those are the negative impacts
Sometimes
of violence.
you purchase,
Hire vehicle, buy things, and spend money into the economy. But when you hear violence, it doesn't help us. So I think I condemn what happened over the weekend, and I've asked all the youth that are involved to sheath their sword. The elders involved should also stop sending this youth to the street to go and violate and go and destroy and damage more things. It's not helping any of us. Anybody that is aggrieved, the society has already channeled us to the court. If you are aggrieved, you go to court and vent your anger there. Don't take the laws into your hand doing some of these things. Now the governor have set up a panel or judicial panel of inquiry to investigate this. Imagine that at the end, now when this report comes out, your name is mentioned in that report as a youth that have been involved in this. You can't fly out of this country to any country again in your life. You are like condemned, because the embassies will get the report and your name will be on there. Any day you come to apply for visa, they will tell you, no, you were involved in violence in your state, we can't allow you to enter our country. So you condemn yourself for life. Not only you, that thing will affect, because that name is already in the system on the internet that you were involved. Your children yet unborn, when they grow up and they come up with that name, it becomes a problem. So this thing have multifaceted and spiral effects on you, not only you, that community. So you should stay away from violence, and we should join hands together to make our society, make our state to become great again.
okay, we'll be expecting calls. I think we have our number on the screen there. We have the number on the screen, so you can call to contribute, to this discussion, cultivating the culture of peace. So yes, you've really analyzed that. So let us go down to cultivating the culture of peace. Why do you think the United Nations chose, is the theme for the International Day of Peace?
Yeah.
So why do you think they chose this thing, cultivating the culture of peace?
I think the choice of that theme for this year 2024 is very apt, because across the world today, the number of wars that are going on currently is terrible, and it is important for us to cultivate everywhere is war, and in a way, as the war is going on, I know other people are feeding from it. That is where they feed. If there is no war, they won't make bullets, they won't set their bomb and things like that. But we must cultivate the culture of peace.
Hello. I think we have a network. Yes.
Yeah.
We're
So
talking about cultivating
the culture of peace. So the choice of this year's theme, cultivating the culture of peace, is very important because of the way peace has been threatened around the world. You see the Hamas-Israel war. You get to talking about Putin and Ukraine. They are fighting the other side. Everywhere you have war. Even in Nigeria here, you go to the northeast, you have Boko Haram. You go to northwest, you have banditry. You come to the southeast, you have IPOB, ESN.
Hello. Can you turn down the volume? Hello, are you there? Good afternoon. You are on to Indepth. Please, what's your name? The volume of your television is high. Can you tune it down? Good. So what's your name? We may need to. Yeah. I think this thing is.
Yeah,
So you were talking about
in Nigeria, you have the northeast, you have Boko Haram insurgency there. Northwest, you have banditry. In the southeast, you talk about the threat the government is looking at in relation to the agitation of the IPOB and then ESN. Then you come to the south side, talk about militancy. Everywhere is just crisis, and peace is being threatened. So there is the need for us to cultivate the habit of peace. Peace does not, for you to achieve peace and cultivate the habit, does not mean that you should not agitate and make demands on the system. You can make demands on the system.
You can make demands on the system, but in a peaceful we'll lose our calls. We'll lose our calls. Then,
yeah, we can make demands on the system,
but in a peaceful way.
We have a model in Nigeria, the model that was adopted by Ken Saro-Wiwa that was hanged. You know, he used the peaceful model to make demands on the system. But government didn't reinforce that peaceful model of making demands. But again, there was controversy and certain accusation leading to his execution in 1995, November 10. But we must be able to push a system that will enable us do letter writing, come on radio, TV to talk, and then make demand on the system. And government looks into what we are demanding without having to let us. Because remember, it is because government refuses to recognize peace. The need to really encourage those who are cultivating the culture of peace was the reason why even the militancy in the Niger Delta started. Because they look at what happened to Ken Saro-Wiwa that was agitating peacefully, and then he was killed. They now said, okay, they should raise guns, and they started using guns. Government listened to them. So it's unfortunate that we are having this kind of system. So in order to properly cultivate the culture of peace, government should listen to the people that are promoting peace, so that it will help to talk to other people to also cultivate the same habits. And then they will tell you, if you are an agitator, I say, no, we are not going to listen to you. If you are shooting, we don't go to listen to you. If the message comes from someone that is promoting peace, we will listen to them, and then we'll call you to the table. That way, we can be able to address this issue, because we cannot continue like this, threatening peace every day. Because sometimes when bullets is released in an environment, children can die, elderly ones, the fear can kill them and things like that. So it is not something that I think we need to, encourage. It's not good at all. So we must cultivate the habit of peace. The 2024 theme is very, very important, because world peace and security is majorly being threatened with what we are currently, having around the world.
Do you think there's any relationship between culture and peace?
Very, very important. Now, there is a relationship between culture and peace. There is that strong nexus between these two. If you grow up, or you belong to a culture of those who don't value peace, it becomes an issue. But if you are from a culture that value peace, becomes an issue. Now, there is this wrong impression that I will use to give this analogy very, very quickly and shortly, is that a lot of people believe that the moment you belong to the Islamic culture, that you are a violent person. Because like a lot of them are trying to relate those who are in Boko Haram to Muslim and things like that. It is not so. It's not so. A lot of peaceful people are in the Muslim religion. So we must try to look at this nexus and then begin to promote peace, because there is a relationship between culture, and peace, and we must be able to imbibe that culture of peace, so that we can also push our own natural culture and tradition to go the next direction.
So there's that relationship.
Exactly, is there.
And then I also want us to take a look at building peace. Over time, people will say that we only respond to crisis. You understand? So that there is need to build peace. Exactly. You don't wait until is your area. You don't wait until there is crisis and you begin to look for peace.
Exactly.
So that there is need, to build peace.
And that is how we tell government to be proactive and not reactive.
Okay, proactive and not reactive. Okay, so yeah, I think you're right. Because most times they say, the government is always reactive.
Reactive.
Responding to crisis.
Yes.
Responding to violence.
Exactly. Because something happened over the weekend when the governor was speaking on TV. The governor said he got information almost 3 times that there were going to be crisis, but he didn't take it seriously. He didn't know it was going to happen. If the governor have taken that information seriously and commenced the process of peace building ahead of the election, ahead of post-election, there may not have been much problem like we currently have. But now it has happened. The governor is reactive by setting up the judicial panel of inquiry. So we need to, when you get signal, that will talk about intelligence. Sharing intelligence and intel about something that is going to happen, you try to nip it in the bud. You don't allow it to happen. In as much as you continue to wait till something happens before you react, it becomes reactive. Our security operatives also need a lot of this information to work with, and that is why we even tell them to try as much as possible to get information, work on the information to address the issue. So members of the public are also supposed to cooperate with security operatives to share information.
Good afternoon. Yeah. What's your name, please? And where are you calling from?
My name is Godsend.
Okay, Godsend. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from the incident in Rivers State local government.
It's okay. So what contribution do you want to make? We are discussing cultivating the culture of peace.
Please, ma'am. The contribution I want to make is please, let this matter not sweep under the carpet, because if we don't do that, means more things that is bigger than this is coming. Because more punishment. I don't know what I understand what that is.
I do.
If there is no punishment for this particular thing that's happening, simply means who was this coming.
Thank you very much. Your contribution well taken. People should be made to pay for whatever wrong they have done. That is the point you're making. Thank you.
Yeah,
you got that.
Very important, because now the governor have set up a judicial panel of inquiry to investigate this. They're giving them their terms of references. So at the end of the investigation and public hearing, people submitting memoranda, things like that, and the report is submitted to the governor. The governor should release the white paper, which is always the position of the government on the report that they have received. On that white paper, government should, and they will, state what they are going to do to punish those who are found wanting. And what they need to do is to prosecute them. That is the way to face the wrath of the law.
Justice should be served. Justice should be served.
So to serve as deterrent to other people.
Okay. Well, very soon we'll be, rounding up. Before we go, I want us to take a look at culture of peace in Nigeria. Generally.
The culture of peace in Nigeria is being eroded to a very large extent, because peace in Nigeria is being threatened.
Whether religions, in the area of religion, whether in the area of politics, holistically.
Everywhere in Nigeria, peace is being threatened, and that is because the issue of justice is not really coming on. And if we want to achieve peace in Nigeria, we must address injustice within the system, because a lot of things are happening. Like after the 2023 general election, there was threat to peace because some people believed that their vote never counted, and peace was threatened, injustice was served, and they became angry. It's just like what happened after the local government election in Rivers State. So some people felt that justice was not given, and as a result of that, peace was threatened, and you have that happening. So the government should work with stakeholders and address issues that has to do with justice. I keep saying that they need to really reform our judicial system in such a way that a case you take to court to seek for peace and seek for justice should not be there forever. Because I have very bitter experience with the court, whereby someone owe me a little money. I've been in court for 7 years just to ask for debts. It's unfortunate. Things like that will make people to resort to self-help, violence that can cause problems. So our judicial system should be reformed, and we put together everything so that we can address the issue of injustice that threaten peace in our country, Nigeria, because we have one Nigeria and we must collectively work towards achieving peace in Nigeria.
Okay, thank you, FYNEFACE DUMNAMENE FYNEFACE Executive Director, YEG Nigeria, and YEG is Youth and Environmental Advocacy Center. Can go on and on and on and on again, but time is not our friend now. I guess we'll have another time to handle some other areas that we didn't discuss today. So I don't know if you have any last word you want to say before we leave, because...
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. My last word I would like to say is to tell our youth to shun violence. They should embrace peace, and they should stay away from anything that has to do with destroying public infrastructure. If they have problem, they should go and tell their master that sent them to embrace the court, the judicial system, to address some of these issues. Rivers youth, be in peace. Nigerian youth, be in peace, and we shall achieve a better society devoid of threat to peace that will support not only our own life and our living, but that of our children yet unborn.
Okay.
Thank you.
And so I want to add peace in our